What up is Coach Morris, aka your favorite youth pastor, with questions or stuff, church stuff, questions and answers, part 3. So we'll dive right into it. The first question is, why is Lucifer or Satan's number 6? Why is it number 6? And what is the importance of it, I guess? And then to answer that, in Revelations, it talks about the mark of the beast. I believe in chapter 13, verses 18, it talks about how the mark of the beast is 666. So when we think about the number 6, 6 is shorter than 7, right? Or 6 becomes 7, which represents Satan falls before God, which when we talk about numbers, 777 is the number of perfection, which represents God. So 666 being the devil, and then 777 being God, we see that Satan has fallen short of God. And then when we talk about 6 is also represented as the number of man. So just like Satan, man falls short of God's glory or God's justice or God's righteousness every single time. So the reason why Lucifer's number is 666 is that it represents that Satan is below God. The next two questions, or the next two questions, are very simple questions, but they have deep-rooted spiritual matters to them. Those questions are, can you be baptized more than once, or can you be baptized multiple times? And is going to church of a different denomination okay? So being baptized twice, I think the root of this question is like, a lot of times Christians, or a lot of times children, they say they're saved, or they fall through these acts of salvation, the plan of salvation, and then as they get older and as they mature, they realize they knew right from wrong, but they did it for the wrong reasons, if that makes sense. Like they might have knew that lying and cussing was a sin, so they knew they needed Jesus, but the fullness of Jesus' love and the fullness of the sacrifice Jesus had, they didn't understand. So when they come as an adult or a teenager, they fully accept that and they fully aware that, and then they go through the process of baptism again. So in that sense, yes, you can be baptized twice, but the point of baptism is kind of like this ring. Baptism, or this ring, is an outward representation of that I have an inward commitment with my spouse, with my wife. So your baptism is an outward confession of Jesus Christ with an inward decision that you let Jesus come into your life. And then in that process of being baptized, when you go under the water, that's a representation of your sin and your old self dying, and the new, as you come up out of the water, it's a new life with Jesus, as now you are walking with Christ, whereas before you were walking around with, I guess, pretty much the devil. And then there's also an example of being baptized into a church. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, you can technically be baptized more than once, but true baptism, as you enter into a relationship with Christ in spiritual matters, I think it only happens once. I think there's only one time to where when you get dunked in the water, your sin is forgiven and you come up with a raise, with a new life. There's things called rededicating your life, which you don't necessarily have to be baptized. It's just you saying, hey God, I was here with you, I backtrack, and I need you to help me get back to where I was, or I need you to give me a fresh start so I can even be even better. But anyways, I hope that answers that question. And then as far as going to churches of different denominations, I think that's okay, as long as you are being spiritually fed, and you are spiritually being fed, and you're spiritually maturing, meaning you are growing, meaning that what that church, what the pastors, what the people are teaching and preaching in that church, you can take, you can apply it and use it in your everyday walk in life. Meaning if that church is going on youth trips, that church is going on mission trips, that church is doing things in the community to help the community grow and succeed and be better. If the you see examples in people of the church and people and the leaders of the church, and that you can get things out of what they're preaching and teaching, that I think that's more important than the denomination. Because a lot of times when we start labeling ourselves as denominations and not as Christians, not as Christ followers, a lot of judgment, a lot of stereotypes come into that. One of the saying is Baptists don't dance, but we like our food, which growing up as a Baptist, growing up in a Baptist church, I can attest to that. You're not going to see us dancing, really. Um, Maybe the youth, but we're not holding or hosting dances. But you better guaranteed we're having some kind of potluck at least once a month. But in saying that, it's more important to say that we are a Christian, that we are growing in Christ, that we are a Christ follower, than it is to say I am a Baptist or I am a denominational, I am a Catholic, or whatever religion, or whatever, not religion, but whatever denomination you choose to go to. The importance is that you are getting spiritually fed and that you are getting spiritually mature in and through that church and in and through that church leadership that they have there. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope if this stepped on your toes or if this convicted you, I hope it did. I hope it kind of is eye-opening. So if you got anything out of this video, it's two things. I hope it's at least, or I hope you get that it's more important to be a Christ follower than a label or a title of your church, and that wherever church you do attend, that you are both growing spiritually mature and you're getting spiritually fed, meaning that what they are preaching and teaching, that you can absorb, you can apply it, and use it in everyday life. Love you guys.